Hi, nice to meet you, Michelle.
Nice to meet you, Michelle. What brings you here today?
So I'm currently looking for a job. Since I've graduated, I wanted to find something a bit that would fit my talents a bit better. I've had previous experience in a few other establishments where I have had more of an office background, but I'm looking to kind of move up and do something that interests me a little bit more.
How do you handle people that annoy you?
So when someone generally annoys me, I try to figure out why they do. Your feelings come from a place that you control. So if you have someone that annoys you, you try to figure out why that is to see what you can stop yourself from seeing them in that way. If they do have a general problem, I feel like working with them on one-on-one or talking to them directly about whatever your issues are is usually the best. But most of the time, just to try to focus on how professional, how the professional relationship can continue.
That's a really good perspective. Can you give me an example of a time you did something wrong and how you handled it?
So when I was brand new at the front desk, because I had worked at the hotel, I had accidentally checked someone into the wrong room. The guests had similar last names, and I wasn't quite know exactly where to click to get the correct one up, and I accidentally checked them into the wrong room. What I did was I went back to the guest and explained to them what had happened. I offered them a small discount, and I had moved them to a room that was actually better than the room that I moved them into.
Tell me about your proudest achievement.
So far my proudest achievement has been for graduating college. It's been something that I wanted to do since I was a small child, and I'm just really happy that I was able to complete that. I do want to move on and do grad school and higher my education and further it that direction. But so far, my undergrad degree is my proudest achievement.
Can you tell me what your undergrad is?
It's professional communications, and I have a minor in peace and social justice.
Okay. What techniques and tools do you use to keep yourself organized?
So I'm generally pretty organized naturally, but to remind myself to keep things organized, I usually have detailed to-do lists, as well as like a file system that I have for pretty much everything.
Cool. How do you want to improve yourself in the next year?
So the next year, I'm looking to get more professional experience and to really help build up my resume. I plan on staying at my next job for several years, so I just want to make sure it is a good fit for both me and the company, because I do need to develop that more thoroughly.
Have you ever been on a team with someone who does not pull their weight, and how do you handle it?
Literally all the time. College was, well, when you work a lot hard, people always stick to you and they don't necessarily pull their work because they think that you're going to do it anyway. Sometimes it depends on the situation, it depends on how important the teamwork is. I do generally try to get more things done on my own because I know I can do them correctly in the way that I want them done. But if someone is not pulling their weight and it's detrimental to the project, I will talk to them directly about it, because if they're both the same goal, we should recognize that we're having an issue meeting this and figure out what's stopping them from completing their portion.
Yeah, absolutely. And how would you describe your work style?
So I'm pretty focused. I would say one of my previous bosses called me that I'm pretty particular about how I like things done. But I would say that I'm just thorough and organized. And some people think of that as particular. I just think that that's an ideal way to work.
And what are the qualities of a good leader?
So a good leader is more importantly a good listener. You can only lead a team in a group if you understand their issues and if you really listen to what they want.
So how would you say your previous employer described you?
As I said before, one of my bosses would call me particular. She would even, when I would train new people, she'd warn them and say that I'm particular and that she didn't expect the job to be done the same way I did it. But my bosses above her agreed that it was the most practical way to perform the job. My other bosses would say that one of my bosses said I never made mistakes, and he'd always joke with people about that. But most of the time, they just are really happy that how dedicated I am and how hard I am.
Can you tell me about your past experience job and what you learned from it?
Yeah, absolutely. In my previous occupation, I worked at the front desk, which more people assume is a pretty easy job. You do have to handle a lot of issues, you deal with a lot of guest complaints, and you have to problem solve on your feet. That kind of fast thinking, especially when you are the only person there in charge of the entire hotel, is it's nerve-wracking to some. I keep myself very calm when we're dealing with emergency situations like fire alarms or power outages and things like that. You don't help anyone if you're not calm and centered on your own. But I have learned a lot about how people really deal with issues, like in the real world, when someone has a problem, how you can solve it and what you need to do to appease them. And it's not always about like the monetary aspects. It's also about understanding people's basic needs. And at the hotel I worked for, the mission was to go above and beyond to please our guests, and that meant dedicated service. But when there's not giant, I'd say medium-sized hotel all full of guests, it's very hard to maintain that level. But you truly have to enjoy what you do. And I do like my job because it has those difficult aspects. It always keeps me on my feet. There's always something new. We've had days where the entire telephone system went off and I had to deal with how to solve that. We've had days where the computer systems went off and I was the one that knew how to fix it. There's been multiple different things at the hotel that have gone wrong in the time that I've been working there that I've had to fix single-handedly because no one else knew how to do it. Typically what happens is when you're there, I work primarily at nights, so management is on call if you need them, but they don't always answer and they don't always answer timely. So you are pretty much left to your own devices and what you've been trained and what knowledge you have to be able to solve whatever issues at your door. I will say that I definitely learned the most from that position dealing with guests. From previous positions, I've dealt with more. At the first establishment I worked for, it was a bit smaller, but I did do more of a hiring process and understood more of how to handle employees and doing scheduling and things like that. At this position, it's very much just a larger scale operation, so it did give me more of an insight into that.
Okay. So where do you see yourself in 5 years, Michelle?
In 5 years, I want to be either starting my graduate program or already a few semesters into it. I do want to get my master's before I am 30, but I am hoping to work and do that in conjunction. So I definitely see myself developing more professionally and also more academically between now and then.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your time today,
Not a
Michelle.
problem. It's a pleasure meeting you.
You too. Hi, I'm Nicole. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Michelle. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm currently a senior at Plymouth State University studying professional communications with a minor in marketing. I found this position because I'm looking to become someone that can make an impact on other people's lives. I have a passion for communicating with people and helping people, so I thought this would be a perfect fit for me.
What exactly is your major?
Professional communications with a minor in marketing.
Okay. What made you choose that?
Leaving high school, I had a passion for film and just learning more about that field. Until I went to college, I realized that studying communications and realizing how important it is to communicate with other people around the world, that I really wanted to dive deeper into that, and that's really what I'm looking for.
How do you see the next 5 years of your life?
The next 5 years, I hope to see myself serving other people, no matter where I am, whether it's working for this company or other organizations. I just see myself growing as much as I can over the next 5 years.
How did you hear about this position?
I actually heard it through my church, and one of my friends works in this company, so I thought, since he recommended it, that I did some research and found out that it would be a good fit for myself as well.
Okay. What is your greatest professional strengths?
I would say my professional strengths are definitely communicating with the youth. I've been a youth leader in my past at summer camps and at my church, so definitely seeking relationships is definitely important in making an impact on their lives, especially if they don't have a good role model.
What do you find the most rewarding part of your work with these past limited?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The most rewarding part is definitely growing those relationships and connecting with them on a deeper level, not just the small talk, but more about helping them with their basic needs in their day-to-day life and helping them grow every single day, no matter what they go through.
What are you looking for in this position?
I am looking to further my knowledge with this program and to help the youth, because they deal with so many challenges, whether it's mental, physical, or family issues at home. I just want to be able to be that light where they can come to me with any issues or concerns, and just really help them grow. And this will help me grow as well, because you think you go into this job just wanting to help them, but they also teach you a lot of life lessons as well.
Okay, how would you approach a problem? How do you deal with someone who's negative or mean towards you, or mean-spirited?
So I would say I would deal with this day to day, especially in the school environment, just day-to-day life, where if I'm working with someone that's negative, I always try to bring a positive aspect into it. So, with youth counseling, we get trained and taught how to deal with people that tend to be emotional, especially with the children. So let's say if it's an adult, we would have to handle that respectively and see eye to eye and have that communication. Especially being a communications major, you have to see both sides of the story, and I try to be the light and try and help as many people as I can. So if they're being negative, I definitely want that to be resolved.
Can you give me an example of a time you did something wrong and how you handled it?
Yes. So I would say with every job I've had, making mistakes comes with
Part of learning.
Yeah, exactly. So making mistakes is the part of learning and growing. So if I don't make a mistake, then how will I know what to do next, or how will I grow from moving up in the company? So every job I've had, I've made a mistake. So how I learn from that is I realize the mistake, or someone else realizes it, and then discuss how to improve, or how to, fix the next problem that may come in the future. So,
Okay, fine. What attracts you most to this position?
what attracts me most to this position is knowing I'm working for a company that wants to change the youth's lives. So, it's not about me, it's about other people and serving other people. So when I say I have to work, like, it's not an obligation. Like, I have a passion for wanting to go in and help other people, and knowing that I can make an impact on their life. So it's really having that positive outlook.
What qualifies a good leader for you?
Being a good leader to me is someone that is always willing to help other people, someone that sacrifices their time to make sure that other people are comfortable with what's going on in their life, so going out of their way to help other people grow.
Okay, what is your proudest achievement?
My proudest achievement throughout my career, I would say, is being able to lead at my church and to be an example.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. I am wondering what you are looking for in a youth counselor, and what characteristics stand out to you the most.
We need someone who has hard principles that are not very flexible, so they know what the rules are and they know that need to be followed. We're looking for someone who's dedicated and who's so passionate about our cause.
I'm the perfect girl for it.